Welcome back to From the Shed End. I hope you're all doing well this Tuesday afternoon. As always, please go and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the Linktree link in the description and let us know your thoughts in the comment section as well. I don't know, man. I don't know what it's like being a Liverpool fan right now, but being a City fan right now must be amazing. Being a Chelsea fan is absolutely rubbish right now, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better anytime soon. I was going to come on here and talk about the performance against Everton, but I feel that's now passed us by. We've now removed that out of our system. What I will say is credit to Everton, credit to Sean Dyche. Yeah, credit to them. They played well. I did say Goodison Park is a tough ground to go to, but don't have the best of records there. Was it as bad as Manchester United? I'm going to say no, it wasn't, but it was still up there as one of the worst performances I think I've watched as a Chelsea fan. It was another gutless, zero effort performance from the boys, and none of them look like they're ready to wear the badge. None of them look like they're ready to play for this club. Not one of those players look like they want to actually come on and do a job. And credit to Mauricio Pochettino, because he actually did listen to probably a large proportion of the fan base and bench Nicholas Jackson for Armando Broja, who for me didn't do anything either. But you benching Sterling as well as Jackson was probably the worst thing you could have done. Look, hindsight is a beautiful thing. In my opinion, personally, you could have brought on Messi, Ronaldo and Mbappe and we still probably wouldn't have scored. So I think that the issues at this club are more deep-rooted. They're more than just the 11 players on the pitch, the coach, the coaching staff. This is a massive problem from top to bottom. We're going to get onto all of that, actually. I want to talk about the pressing news that came out this morning, which we reported on our account. Now, as you can see, Reece James is expected to be out for a minimum of 3 months. The question I asked this morning on our social account From the Shed End on Twitter was, is it now time for surgery to be considered for Reece James? Another massive injury. I'm going to be 110% honest, and this is just my opinion. If he doesn't get the surgery, which by the looks of things, he's not. He's, according to Chelsea, the official website, and the statement that came out this morning, he's going to continue or start his rehabilitation program, which is the lovely theme that obviously they love to use at Chelsea and Cobham. But I am very, very mindful that this is not the first injury, especially a hamstring injury. Look, we have to be honest about Reece James. Reece James, if I'm honest, and I did read this stat a couple of weeks ago, I think since 2021, since we won the Champions League, has only made 17 appearances and played 90 minutes for Chelsea. 2020, we were approaching 3 years since the Champions League win, and Reece James has only played 17 games where he's played the full match. That's alarming. That's alarming. Now, we know Reece James on his day, he's one of the best right backs in the world. He's up there with Trent, Carl Walker. He's in that conversation. But the downfall for me, for Reece James, is he can't do this at the top level anymore. He's finished at the top level. And I think the moment that the penny drops with a lot of these Chelsea fans, and I'm not one of them who, I don't have any sentiment or loyalty to any of these players or managers or anyone. Players come and go, managers come and go, fans will eventually come and go. I have no loyalty to anything but the badge when it comes to this club. This club means everything to me, but the players, I don't have any sentiment to any of them. You could be at the club since you were 8 years old or 8 days ago. It doesn't matter to me. If you're not good enough to play, that doesn't even mean ability-wise either. I'm talking about things like this, where we're talking about injuries after injuries after injuries after injuries. If you can't stay fit, you have to go. You have to go. Because you're not, what are you bringing? This is the captain of Chelsea Football Club. Albeit that was given to him. It was rewarded to him by Mauricio Pochettino. But looking back, we have to see that was probably the worst thing we could have done, is give it to someone. And credit to Theo as well. Shout out Theo. He actually said this on one of the podcast episodes. Why are we giving the captaincy to someone who we know, I think he even predicted around this time of year will be injured and will be out for a couple of months. And here we are. Here we are, 12th of December, 1:50 p.m., talking about another injury to Reece James that has set him back out for a minimum of 3 months. We know it's not going to be 3 months. It's Reece James. Let's add another 2 months onto that. So we're talking about the end of the season. He's out for the season now. He's out for the season. He's definitely missing the Euros. I don't even want him. He doesn't deserve to go. I said this as well to people a few weeks ago. He doesn't deserve to be on that plane. You can't take him just for the ability. We've got a Trent that can do that job. I wouldn't take Reece James. He's not fit enough. He can't play back-to-back games, consistently play games in any squad. You could even shift him back to being a centre-back and he probably would still struggle. And the reason is, when you have an injury list, which I'm going to pull up in a minute, that Reece James has got, it doesn't matter where. You could play goalkeeper and still end up doing your cruciates. So he's one of these players that has had so many injuries in the same pattern of injuries. I don't think we're going to see Reece James reach the levels that he could have reached. I think his time is at that, where he is now is the level we will see Reece James at. He's not going to get any better. He will decline eventually, as all footballers do eventually. But we will not see the heights of the potential that Reece James has. We will not see it. He can't play football for a month without being injured. And at the top level, and you're the captain of a football club, you have to be able to do that. Some of that is just probably down to his natural body in terms of the fact of how his body's built. I've always said this, and I said it probably 2 seasons ago, he does carry a lot of weight. And that's not a criticism to Reece James, but that is just the facts of the facts. He carries a lot of weight. So when you're running up and down that wing, the impact on your muscles, on your hamstrings, on your quads, on your every part of your body, it's going to have a massive impact. When you're lunging in for tackles, or you're lunging in for a challenge, or you're just running down and the pressure of the weight that you're carrying, especially upper body strength as well, upper body weight, that's going to have a lot of, if you haven't got the best legs, which he clearly doesn't, you know, he's had knee problems, ankle problems, then that's going to take its toll. It's going to take its toll. So we're at a point now where we have to seriously consider, is Reece James a player that we want to keep at Chelsea? And I'm going to answer it for you guys. No, he's not, because he can't stay fit. So what's the point of having a 20% Reece James, a 30, 40, 50% Reece James in the squad? He can't offer us anything. At the most crucial part of this season, when we've got games coming thick and fast, there's some winnable games in there. You look at Sheffield United coming this weekend. There's games that we could win. We haven't even got Malagusto for that game. So these are the questions as a Chelsea fan. Take away the sentiment, take away the loyalty to someone who's been at the club for so long. Take all that away for a second. What does he bring to the table? We are not British Airways. This is not TFL. We can't have passengers in the squad. If this was any other player, I'd be saying exactly the same thing. Reece James cannot play in that Chelsea squad. Regardless of who's in it and around him and who's part of that spine, he just can't stay fit enough. I'm going to pull up his injury list. This is going back to 2019, 2020 season. Just look at the hamstring strain, the hamstring injury, another hamstring injury, a knee injury back to back, another hamstring injury in 22, 23. But you look at those last two there. 22, 23, hamstring injury. 23, 24, hamstring injury. It's just not good enough. It isn't good enough. And you look at all, as I just said, you look at all the injuries he's had. All of them, bar the one where he's ill for 6 days. But all the other ones, they're all muscular injuries, impact injuries of playing a sport that is a contact sport. We can't have him in the team to do what? What is his job in his team? His job in the team is to be a good player and to drive that ball forward and get the ball in the box and then do his defensive duties on top of that as well. If he can't do that, which he clearly can't, based on the injury record that he's got from 2020, 2019 to present day, just look at all the days and the games that he would have missed. Just look at all those games he's missed. He's missing chunks of a season. We can't sustain that. You can't carry passengers in this Chelsea squad especially now, the way that the squad is at the moment, where you're looking to Reece James as being one of your key players, the players that you want in the squad, to drive the team, galvanize the team, and go forward and do something. He has to be one of those. He's one of them. Yeah, all right, he's 24, but he's one of the more experienced players in that squad. He is. He's still probably classed effectively as a young player, but he's got the experience. He's played at the very top level for this club. He should know what it means to play at the club. Why did we give him the captaincy? That's another strange question. You know, Thiago Silva's there, but he's nearly 40. I said at the time, and I still stand by it, it doesn't make sense to give it to him. For me personally, what would that achieve? You know, he wants to probably leave in the summer. Look at Raheem Sterling, maybe another one. It's just, I mean, it goes back to that point of what I said before. You know, we haven't got the experience in the team, no leaders in the team. We haven't. You're seeing ex-players. I was listening to the one Obi-Wan podcast this week and at the weekend, and you know, Malouda, you know, Mikel, even after the Everton game, done a small segment with his co-host on there, talking about, you know, there's no leaders. You know, in his day, that wouldn't happen. And I agree with him. And I said it on here. I said it on this podcast. You need the John Terrys. You need a Didier Drogba to get you by the scruff of the neck. I said that only last week after the United game last Thursday. We need leaders. We need people in that team that are going to get you by the scruff of the neck and tell you to do something. And here we are. No leaders. We lose 2-0 to Everton. But we're in tape in the evening. Back in London. Make sure we get our Christmas party in though, lads. Well done. Brilliant stuff. You get your Christmas party in while travelling fans from up and down the country. One weekend in United, one weekend at Newcastle, and then another one in Liverpool. No refunds. No real apologies from the captain, from the experienced players. But you make sure you get your Christmas party in at tape. Make sure you get your drinks down you as well, lads, yeah? Because that's where we are as a club. None of these players give a shit about the club anymore. They're more concerned about making sure they get paid, making sure that they're in the team, playing football, probably to get incentives, to get more money. They don't give a shit about the club. Not one of them, I said this before, not one of them give a shit about the football club anymore. But the fans, loyal fans, actually care about the club. We actually care about the club. And I've said it before, you can't spend £1 billion and still tell me that we need strikers in the team, Osimhen in the team. I'm not hearing it. Osimhen hasn't even scored he scored 6 goals in Serie A this season, Victor Osimhen for Napoli. He hasn't scored a goal from open play since the end of September, and his last goal was on the 8th of October, which was a penalty. Now, if you're telling me this guy's going to come up here and be a trailblazer and light up the Premier League and score 25 goals, then I'll eat my Apple Watch right now. I'll eat it because it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. There's no way he comes into the Premier League. Better strikers have come into this league and failed. So, and basing it on that, if we're talking about, you know, he should be able to come here and do that. Lukaku scoring left, right, centre with Roma in a very poor Roma side. So if we're talking about it from that perspective, you know, Serie A is one kettle of fish. I'm not saying the league's shit, but it's not as good as the Premier League in terms of the intensity. The expectations are a lot higher. The quality of strikers is probably a bit better as well. You look at Haaland, Watkins, Ivan Toney when he comes back. Son, we're seeing that now as well with Spurs. So all these things, you've got to factor them all in. I don't even want to spend 150 million on another striker. 2 years later, after Lukaku, we're spending another 150 million. Goes back to my point about recruitment. Recruitment is so bad at Chelsea right now. We need to hang ourselves in shame. And I read again yesterday, Zazi's on the list of players that potentially will be sold in the summer or even in the winter window. It just tells me that this club does not have any real strategy, no purpose, on and off the field. And you can automatically tell that Maurizio Pochettino does not have a say in any of these signings. And that is a massive worry because he's he's almost automatically going to end up out of a job. Because the players that the owners are going to bring in, they're not asking you to make things work with them. They're telling you you're going to make things work with these players that we bring in. And I'm trying to stress this to a lot of Chelsea fans. The owners are the ones in control of the signings. They're the ones that are coming in and telling the manager at the minute, Maurizio Pochettino, these are the players you have to use to make sure you get the results on the pitch. Now, if he's not doing that, they're not going to keep going out and spending more money. We spent £1 billion already, and we still don't have a goalkeeper that we can fully trust in goal, and we don't have a goal scorer. So the owners are going to say, hold on a minute, we've just given you Nkunku, Jackson, Palmer, Mudryk, Madueke, Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, Malagusto, Desazi, Badiashile, Correa, Sterling. He's basically given us a full new 11. Now, I'm not saying that they're all of quality and that they're all players that should be in the starting 11, but we should be beating Everton, and we should be beating a deflated Newcastle. And I said it last week, I'm going to say it again. Let us lose to Sheffield United on Saturday. I think it's time. P45 will be up for Maurizio Pochettino, because we cannot afford to lose that game. We cannot afford to lose to Sheffield United. Massive question marks about who will start at right back now. You maybe look at maybe Correa or Desazi, but at the same time as well, as I said at the very start of this, questions will have to be asked. Do we need to give the time to Reece James to recover? Let him have his surgery, see what he can do. I'm of the opinion that I don't really care anymore. I think his time is at Chelsea at the top level anyway is done. I don't think he's got it in him to even, after the surgery, there's no guarantee that he's going to be able to live up to the expectations of Chelsea fans, that he's going to be the one for the next 10 years, that he's going to run up and down that wing. I don't see that myself. Based on that injury record, bearing in mind this is also page 1 of 2, there's actually a separate page before this one, after this one, sorry, that shows more injuries from earlier on, before 2019, 2020. But looking at that injury list, if you was a betting man, you'd have to say that his time is finished as a top professional footballer at the age of 24. For me personally, he should be looking at probably going into some other capacity of football, whether that's coaching, punditry, whatever. But he's definitely not the captain of Chelsea Football Club. And like I said, lads, I hope they enjoyed your drinks at Tape. I hope you enjoyed your Christmas meal after a 2-0 defeat. Bonding session, they called it. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed that. And just think, when you were there drinking all your drinks, I hope they were thinking about all those travelling Chelsea fans that made the journey 3 weeks on the bounce up north to Newcastle, Liverpool and Manchester to see the team get walloped all over the place. I hope the Chelsea players really sat back and sat there during that team bonding and Tape, spending thousands of pounds on alcohol, about those fans as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comments anyway before I go onto a mad rant. Do we need to sell Reece James? Do we need to keep him and allow him the time to recover after this another repeated hamstring injury? Or is it time to sell Reece James? Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure you hit the Linktree link in the description to take you to the social, to the Spotify podcast and Apple Podcast episodes as well. And as I said, follow the socials, and we'll be back soon with another match preview. Thank you very much for watching.